In today's video, we will see how to grow onions in whiskey barrels. So onions can be planted in winter for a harvest in late spring or summer, depending on the weather in your area. Now, I will not be going over the planting details for onions as they are the same as garlic, which I just explained in my previous video. There are many ways to grow onions. You can either use onion seeds that you can buy from any garden center, and then you can sow these onion seeds and then transplant them when they're ready into bigger containers. Or you can use onion sets, which are basically small onions that you can start in containers to get bigger onions. The onions that you see here have been started from seed and then transplanted into this bigger container. Now, onions use the same kind of soil that garlic uses, nice and loose with lots of compost. But onions do grow bigger bulbs, so they do need fertilizer as opposed to garlic, which can grow pretty much with no fertilizers added. So use a nice balanced fertilizer for your onions. The general rule to determine whether your onions are ready for harvest is when the tops start falling off, as you can see here. So what you should do is once the tops start falling off, just make sure you break the tops of all the other onions. Now what this does is it signals dormancy. What it means is that the plants now stop forming the greens and continue to form the bulbs and go into dormancy. This is the general life cycle of an onion. It first produces a lot of greens, and then the plant concentrates its energy on producing the bulbs. So it takes about 1 to 2 weeks for the dormancy to trigger in, and for these 1 to 2 weeks you just have to wait patiently for the dormancy to set in and then get ready for harvest. So when you're harvesting the onions, all you need to do is just uproot them and just lay them by the side. And this first step lets them dry a little bit before you actually start the drying and curing process. And don't worry, some of your bulbs might be smaller than the others. That's just the way onions grow. And I'll tell you a neat tip that you can use to do something with your bulbs that are smaller. And I'll give you that tip towards the end of the video. So do not wash the onions after harvesting because you need them to be very dry before you start curing them. So leave them on a sunny spot or maybe a partially sunny spot like a windowsill or something like that, and let them cure. It takes about 2 weeks for them to dry completely. So once the drying process is completed, you will notice that almost all the leaves have turned completely brown. And then what you need to do is just cut off the extra roots and the tops. And just do that for all the onions that you have. So here we go. That's your harvest. Nice big onion bulbs that you can store for weeks to come. And for the onion bulbs that did not grow, you can use them as sets for your next season. So I hope you liked this video, and planting onions in whiskey barrels lets you grow a few onions, and if you want to grow more you can just use multiple whiskey barrels or grow them in raised beds. It's the same technique. And if you have any tips for growing onions, please do leave your comments and your feedback. I would love to know from you, what you have in your mind, what you do to grow great onions in your garden. And I'll see you again soon in another episode of California Gardening. Until then, happy gardening.